All right, please take your seats. We're going to get this meeting started. Take your seats, please. Thank you very much. Catherine Eng, will you come do the land acknowledgement, please? Thank you.
Absolutely, I'm happy to do that. Okay. We begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather, currently known as the City of West Hollywood, is the occupied, unceded, seized territories of the Gabrielino Tongva and Gabrielino Quiche peoples.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We are going to now do roll call. No, Pledge of Allegiance first? Okay. If you want to know, we're all here. Michael Kienzler, will you come do the pledge for us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, Michael. All right, we'll do a roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Heilman.
Here.
Councilmember Meister.
Here.
Councilmember Shine.
Present.
Vice Mayor Byers.
Here.
Mayor Erickson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thanks. Can we get a report of the closed session agenda?
Yes, good evening. The City Council convened a closed session at 5:30 this evening. There were no members of the public to speak on the closed session agenda. The Council discussed the two items of existing and anticipated litigation listed on the posted agenda and took no reportable action.
Thank
We
you.
concluded at 5:55 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move to approval of the agenda. Do my colleagues have any changes? Councilmember Heilman.
I'm wondering if we could move F1, F2, F3, and F5 to consent.
I am fine with that.
I actually have questions and comments about F5. And then F1 is
The soft story building.
resolution. Yeah, that's fine.
Great. All right, so we'll keep F5 on new business. Anything else? That's it? All right, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Can I clarify? Did you say F4 also?
Yeah, he went all the way to, oh, you did not say F4.
I did not say
That's what I
F4.
thought.
You want
Yeah.
F4? Do you have questions on F4?
No, I don't.
I do.
You do. Okay, you swatched roles this time, so there you go. So we'll keep F4 and F5 on new business then. All right,
And Mayor, I need to note my recusal on consent item B7.
P7. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, there's a motion and a second. All right.
We'll
Levine?
just clarify for members of the public that items F1, F2, and F3 have been moved to the consent calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Great. We will move on to Levine Act disclosures. Councilmember Heilman.
None.
Vice Mayor Byers. I have none. Councilmember Shine. Councilmember Meister. Great. All right, adjournment motions. Councilmember Heilman. I know you have some.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would request that we adjourn in memory of Patrick Ryan Blood. Patrick was a former appointed official of the City of West Hollywood. He served on the Disabilities Advisory Board and is a founding member of the city's inaugural LGBTQ+ Commission. He was noted for his passion, his commitment to inclusivity and accessibility in our community. He was a gifted entertainment attorney and a producer. He was the managing partner of the Blood Law Group, and he represented an array of clients, bringing his expertise to a wide range of media platforms. We extend our deepest condolences to Patrick's family and friends and all who had the pleasure of knowing him. I'd also request that we adjourn in memory of the legendary producer Quincy Jones, who passed away. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Meister.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few. First, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Justin Irving Morrill, was a beloved husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. He died on October 26, 2024, at the age of 92. He was a pastor in the United Methodist Church. He spent many years in the Ecumenical Institute working around the world for church and community renewal. He later moved back to Washington State and worked in development, raising millions over the course of his career for Catholic elementary schools, Bellarmine, and later for community health care. A talented classical pianist and supporter of the arts, he is survived by his wife of 70 years, Del Hunter Morrill, daughters Eileen Howard, Anita Chandler, and Genevieve from our chamber, as well as granddaughters Catherine, Jennifer, Courtney, and Emily, and 6 great-grandchildren. Our sincere condolences go out to Genevieve and her family during this difficult time. I'd also like to adjourn in memory of Eleanor Z. Eleanor Z was a longtime West Hollywood resident, 93 years old when she passed away on November 1st, 2024. Eleanor moved from New York City to West Hollywood in the late 1960s to pursue a career in acting, which continued throughout her life. Her movie credits included What's Up, Doc, Minnie and Moskowitz, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, to name a few. Eleanor was the definition of feisty and spoke her mind, often peppered with expletives. She cared for community and their rights, making sure others were taken care of before herself. She was an intellect and an avid reader, reading several newspapers from cover to cover daily. She was also an activist. Her activism started with civil rights in the 1960s and the March on Washington. Marking her ballot, voting for the first female president was profoundly important to her. Eleanor's apartment on Vista was known by all the neighborhood dogs as Doggy Treat Central. She will be missed by her many neighbors and four-legged friends. Our condolences to her family and friends. And then finally, I would also like to adjourn in memory of Gene Sauer. Gene Sauer was the beloved husband of the late Donna Sauer, a dedicated public servant and esteemed member of our community. Donna served as a deputy to Councilmember Sal Guariello and was an appointed city official on the Public Facilities Commission, where she made lasting contributions to the city. Her passing last year was deeply felt by all who knew her, and Jean's unwavering support for her work exemplified the strength of their partnership. Married for 55 years, Jean and Donna shared a commitment to both each other and to the community that they called home for many years. Our thoughts and heartfelt condolences go out to the Sauer family during this difficult time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. That concludes adjournment motions. We will now go to presentations, and Michael, please come back up, and we'd love to take a photo with you. All right. We are going to move on to public comment. The City Council values your comments. However, pursuant to the Brown Act, the Council cannot take action on items not listed on the posted agenda. The public comment is a period limited to 20 minutes with 2 minutes allotted for each speaker. The public comment period is to address the City Council on consent calendar items, other agenda items if the member of the public cannot be present at the time the item is considered, or items of general interest within the jurisdiction of the City Council. Another period is also reserved for general comment later in the meeting for those who cannot be heard at this time. Public hearing testimony will only be heard and taken at the time of the meeting. Madam City Clerk, how many items do we have? How many public speakers do we have tonight?
Mayor, we have 17 individuals in chambers, and we have 1 individual in Zoom.
Wonderful. We'll move right on to Alan Strasberg, to be followed by Rick Watts.
Alan Strasberg, longtime West Hollywood resident. The demand register, item B3, is a fascinating regular item on the consent calendar. This document represents the nuts and bolts of sound municipal governance. It tells us how you, as stewards of the public purse, are spending our money. The current demand register includes, among other things, money for payphones. I'm wondering where those technological marvels are located in our city. It also includes a lot of consultants and a host of staff travel to important networking boondoggles. The real fleecing of the city occurred this summer when 6 people formed a delegation to Paris to reportedly study best practices for hosting a Pride House for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Why does the creative city need to spend tens of thousands of dollars to travel halfway around the world to learn how to be creative? In total, that trip cost $34,387.94, and the delegation included City Manager David Wilson and John Erickson. Apparently, Erickson was there to be handed the keys to Pride House or some other ceremonial bullpucky. The winner on spending appears to be an event services manager who spent a total of $7,935, including a whopping $4,224 on airfare. I checked with various travel agents who all confirmed that there's no way that fare represents a standard coach ticket. All others traveled for about $1,500 each for airfare. That said, this is probably the only position with a legitimate need to have been on that trip. Who is paying attention to these expenditures? The nuts and bolts of sound municipal governance starts with responsible stewardship of public money. It is not about screaming vulgarities and taking God's name in vain, as Mayor Pottymouth did last Thursday when he represented the city in front of thousands of visitors, including many children. And I know I'm going to be cut off, but I want to call out John Erickson for screaming a vulgarity to me as I walked into this room tonight and denigrating my partner. You did.
Oh, okay.
You did. John, don't argue with me. You did.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Alan, for your public comment. We're going to go right on to Rick Watts. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. We're going to go right on to Rick Watts, to be followed by George Nickel.
Thank you, Council. Rick Watts, City of West Hollywood. If Clerk will indulge me, I'd also like to add the condolences of my colleagues on the Disabilities Advisory Board to the family of Patrick Blood, who served as the chair of the Disabilities Advisory Board and helped shepherd that body through through most of the way towards the end of COVID. Patrick will be missed by us and by many others in the city, and I thank you for adding him to the adjournment motions. I would also ask that you add the name Gary Davis to the adjournment motion. Gary was the late husband of Gilberto Mendoza, a longtime colleague of mine from the from the AIDS life cycle, a long-time roadie. Gilbert has, and with Gary's assistance, raised many thousands of dollars for the efforts of the LA LGBT Center and the San Francisco AIDS Foundation in helping to prevent, treat, and counsel with respect to HIV and AIDS. And then lastly, as we all know, we've got the election coming up tomorrow, and some of you are running for election, and certainly many others. And I just want to remind all of us of the words of Barack Obama back in 2004, that there is no red America or blue America, there is only the United States of America. And that pledge that we recited earlier tonight, of one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. Let's all remember that, and after the election, remember that whoever the winners are, we have the public that we need to take care of. Thank you.
We are going to go on to George Nickel, to be followed, hold on one second, George, my screen, to be followed by Kathy Blavis.
George Nickel, City of West Hollywood. Good Election Day Eve. On the 23rd, I attended the Disability Service Award, and it was a wonderful evening. I again want to take this opportunity to to congratulate all of the winners, including my dear friend Mikey Friedman. And since tomorrow is Election Day, I want to encourage everyone to get out and vote. And as I am running for City Council, I would ask residents to vote for me. I'm a 20-year resident. I have, for years, made certain that I have prioritized public safety in various positions in the city. It has been at the core of my campaign, and if I am honored enough to serve the city, it will continue to be something that I work on. And I would also like to thank the many, many people that have supported me all of these months that I have been running, people that I have long respected, and they have given their time and their talent and their money. 70% of my money came from just West Hollywood residents, which means so much to me. So thanks to all of them, and you know what? Nationally, like in 2008, I hope that we make history tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kathy Blavis to be followed by Stephanie Harker.
Good evening, Kathy Blavis, City of West Hollywood. I too wanted to just do a shout out for the Disability Advisory Awards and all the awardees, and especially Mikey Friedman. She's a remarkable woman and very deserving of the accolades that she got. I also just wanted to mention that there was a person at the Disability Advisory event that was signing, but unfortunately, he was over in the corner, he wasn't on camera, so I hope next time there's a signer that the signer can also be on camera. I just wanted to mention how the podium is sliding away from me, how disappointing this election season was and how ugly it got. And I've mentioned it here before, and I'll mention it again. The cyberbullying, the hate speech, so unbecoming of someone who used to be a council member. And it really saddened me to see that that was what had to be stooped down to. And I'm very proud that nobody I know or nobody I witnessed ever sunk to that level. If any comments were made, if any criticism was made, it was never with any kind of hate speech. It was honorable and justified sometimes. So tomorrow's election day. For the national election, I'm praying as hard as I can. For the local, I'm supporting George Nickel and Zakiya Wright, and I wish everybody good luck, and whatever happens, I hope we can not be as divisive as we have been these last few years. Thank you.
Stephanie Harker to be followed by Kevin Burton.
I wonder if we could put this on the road. I bet it could go on a bike lane. Stephanie Harker, City of West Hollywood. I have been disappointed by many things throughout this election season, but I think the thing that was the most distressing has been the level of disrespect for each other, for other candidates, for people you're running against. Next would come the amount of outside money pouring into the coffers of two candidates. It is appalling that well over $200,000 has been spent. One would like to think that the candidates could run on their merits and the good things that they've accomplished, and there have been many in the city for the betterment of the residents. But alas, Citizens United versus the FEC and the almighty dollar still rules the national elections, and this time our local elections. I thought long and hard. We had 9 candidates from which to choose. I entertained various thoughts and thinking that, that probably a lot of people could do a good job. But again, because of the level of disrespect and the money from outside interests, I have decided to cast my votes for George Nickel and Zakiya Wright. Thank you.
Kevin Burton to be followed by Nick Roybal. Is Kevin Burton here? Oh, literally, I just looked down for a second. Thank you, Kevin, for your public service. Go ahead.
Good evening, council members. Kevin Burton. I'm here to speak on item B6, the post-Ciclavia report from staff, and I can add to that report by saying that it was a very successful with Bicycle Coalition. We had a booth at Ciclavia, and we've worked with the organization before, and we were swamped the whole time with people, most of whom were from West Hollywood, interested in bicycling in the city, and we try to provide as much information on what's going on as possible. I just wanted to highlight that the number of bicycles, which was upwards of about 25,000, really, I think, clearly indicates that if people have a safe place to ride, they're happy to do it. And the length of the route was about 6.5 miles. And most people, I think, ride the whole route, perhaps there and back, which would be 13 miles. The distance from La Brea to Doheny on Santa Monica is about 2.9 miles. So that really shows you that given the size of our city, if we have safe places to ride, I think a lot of people would be much more willing than they are now to bicycle. And I also, with regard to the Ciclavia, certainly urge the council to follow staff's recommendation to apply to Metro again so that this event, which is one of the most popular in the Ciclavia calendar, can be repeated in a couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Nick Roybal to be followed by Carlos Sosa, who is here. Okay, great.
Hi, Council. I was going to talk about politics, but I actually lost somebody that was really close to me. Patrick was a dear friend of mine. He was somebody that meant a lot to me. I was trying to think, what would he want me to say, right? What do you say? And I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. And for somebody like me who likes to search for a language to know, I don't. And maybe I'm not supposed to. But I want to maybe jump on something Kathy said, and maybe all the other beautiful people that have spoken. I wonder if we've been missing something in each other. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. But I just know to lose such a beautiful human soul. I want to do better. And I know it's the election tomorrow, and I hope we will all vote. And I guess I just hope we all learn how to look at each other with new eyes. And possibly care for each other, even when it's really blank and impossible. I didn't curse. So that's my wish for us all. And I love you, Patrick.
Thank you, Nick. Carlos Sosa to be followed by Catherine Ng.
Good evening. My name is Carlos Sosa, Executive Director and founder of the City X1 Youth Group, a local nonprofit focusing on supporting our homeless youth throughout LA County, right here, City of West Hollywood, neighboring City of Hollywood as well. And I'm here to speak on behalf of item F3, which would go to fund our annual Thanksgiving and Christmas activities, both for the homeless youth and at-risk youth as well, to provide them with an evening full of resources, entertainment fun, where we could all just come together during that holiday evening and enjoy the holidays. Let them know that we are their extended family. And I want to thank the council as well as the city at large for your continued support of our organization and funding this item. City staff has been amazing, so I want to recognize Jasmine and Deanna for supporting us and helping move these items along these past couple of weeks. This is a 20-year tradition that began right here in the city in 2004, so it's one of the city's best exports because the event has moved around throughout the county over the years, so it's great to bring it back to Plummer Park on December the 8th for a special Star Wars themed event. And I also want to close with a message to the community at large, anybody here in this room or watching us at any of our streaming channels, is that we recently lost a major sponsor over the weekend of $5,000. So if there's anybody listening that would like to contribute as a business, as an individual, or anything, this will go towards the catering expenses. We look at the homeless count that is provided by the various governing authorities to help identify where we should go take the meals for our meal drop-offs as well, and that's what this funding will go to. So that's pretty much it. cityx1.org is where you can find out more information, CITYX and the number 1.org. Thank you everybody for your continued support.
Thank you, Carlos. Kat Ing to be followed by Jordan Beard.
Okay. A few years ago, I testified in a restraining order case against a mentally unstable neighbor. Afterwards, he began harassing me, and for the next few years, I was constantly on guard. I had to check my surroundings every time I left my property. I made sure to stay within WeHo city boundaries so I could call the sheriffs and not have to call LAPD. And I joined my neighborhood watch. Finally, in December of 23, he was evicted, and my daily life changed. I no longer had to plan every dog walk with military precision. I'd felt unsafe for those years, but it was a specific threat that led to this feeling. I'm here tonight to say this because it occurs to me that usually people come to speak only when there's a problem or when something's wrong, and tonight I want to do the opposite. These days, I have a sense of safety here in West Hollywood, thanks to the presence of Block by Block and the sheriffs. It's important to distinguish which situations require which team to respond and to determine which resources are appropriate for the situation. If I notice something suspicious, like someone hopping a fence or a visibly intoxicated person, I'll call Block by Block. If I see a real crime, I call 911 or I reach out to the sheriffs directly. Another reason for my sense of well-being is that I know all of my city council members. Most of you have my number and have used it, except you, Councilmember Heilman. Call me. I may not agree with all of you with every decision that you make, but I know that you perform this role with dedication and with what you believe to be the city's best interest. And I also feel safe because of my interactions with the city staff that I regularly interact with. I don't mean to minimize anyone else's concerns or experiences. I'm speaking of my own, and I simply wanted to bring some balance to the comments that are generally made in chamber. Tomorrow marks the final day of voting in this election cycle, and I know that there are people who will not get the outcome they desire. Regardless, I hope all of us, share this simple truth, that we live here together.
Thank you.
And we're in this neighborhood together.
Jordan Beard to be followed by Tyler, no last name. So apologies.
Hi, Jordan Beard. I just want to say how lucky I feel to live in an area so dense with great cafes, restaurants, bars, grocery stores, theaters, libraries, the list goes on and on. Because of the small size of this city, just 1.9 square miles, these day-to-day amenities are generally within a short walk from my front door. I love running into my neighbors as I walk my dog or making new friends as I bike home from a dinner out with my partner. That is the dynamic serendipity of living in a city that I love so much. Despite all this, our streets pose an outsized danger to residents. It is all too common of an occurrence for people to be maimed or even die in car crashes here, whether they are drivers, walkers, or people on bikes. Some folks might wave their arms and say, well, we live in Los Angeles, this is inevitable. But the city employs experts in urban design. We have so many resources and techniques to make our streets safer, and we must not be afraid to use these tools in our toolbox to improve West Hollywood. It's easy to be opposed to things. Change can be scary to some, but the long-term benefits of investing in and prioritizing the safety of our streets can make West Hollywood into a truly welcoming, walkable, and beautiful place that other cities will aim to emulate. We cannot let fear deter us from realizing that beautiful future. Fountain Avenue presents a unique opportunity to transform a dangerous residential street into a neighborhood street that actually reflects the people that live there. We need to prioritize our streets for people, for the early morning commuter who wants to ditch their car and bike to their job in West Hollywood but can't find a safe bike route, or the mother who wants to walk her kids to school but is worried about our dangerous crosswalks, or the disabled neighbor who wants to meet up with friends in Plummer Park but can't navigate the narrow, non-accessible sidewalks on Fountain Avenue. We have solutions to these problems. They're within reach. Let's take one step towards the future of West Hollywood, not a step backwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. And Tyler, I'm sorry, I don't have your last name, so come on up. And then to be followed by Wendy Goldman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to address the amplitude of actions, words, and contributions of West Hollywood Mayor John M. Erickson and Vice Mayor Chelsea Lee Byers. On October 7th, the Jewish community experienced the worst attack on the Jewish population since the Holocaust. On October 7th, men, women, and children in Israel were enjoying a music festival which was attacked by terrorists. On October 7th, families were torn apart from one another as their homes were burnt, children were kidnapped, and loved ones were murdered. On October 7th, Jewish men, women, and children were ruthlessly kidnapped and taken into Gaza. And on October 7th, Hamas terrorists attacked Israel. On October 8th, Vice Mayor Chelsea Lee Byers publicly stated that the Palestinian people have been enduring systematic repression, colonization, and ethnic cleansing since the occupation of Palestine in 1948. Historic Palestine has been torn into scattered pieces of land disconnected from each other. Free Palestine. Impeccable timing, if I do say so myself. Not one word on behalf of the Jewish community. Not one word on behalf of the kidnapped individuals. Not one word on behalf of the brutally raped woman. And not one word on behalf of Kafir Bibas, a beautiful baby who was brutally kidnapped and taken from his family. Rape is resistance. Killing Holocaust survivors is resistance. Cutting a fetus out of a pregnant Jewish woman and burning it alive while the mother is watching is resistance. All beliefs of Vice Mayor Chelsea Lee Byers. BeautifulTroubles.org, Chelsea Lee Byers' nonprofit, is illegally used to promote destructive, creative actions and to end violence, apartheid, and settler colonialism in Palestine, Israel. Beautiful Trouble advises, don't dress like a protester, dress like a Republican so you can talk like an anarchist. In her social media post, Chelsea Lee Byers refers to law enforcement and police as domestic terrorists and soldiers of capitalism. Extreme positions even for West Hollywood. Hamas explains itself. It is a demonstration in both senses.
Thank you, Tyler. Your time is up. Wendy Goldman, to be followed by Aaron Cohen.
Wendy Goldman, resident of West Hollywood and block captain of Cynthia Sunset Neighborhood Watch Group. Good evening, Mayor Erickson and council members. I'm here to speak about the critical need for more green space, especially along the Sunset Strip. I referenced the LA County Comprehensive Park and Recreation Needs Assessment, a 2022 report that looked at barriers to accessing public spaces in communities. I'm asking for you, our elected city council members, to support the creation of a new city park on Sunset Strip at 8950 Sunset, at 9027 Harrod, or at 9038 Hammond, or at 1017 San Vicente, all vacant spaces, in order to revitalize Sunset Strip. A question that the report posed, is there enough parkland for the population? The answer for West Hollywood was no. In fact, in the Strip area, the need was high. The report also answered how to go about providing additional parks, considering challenges, policy reforms, and overcoming regulatory issues. You have considered regulation of vacant property and accepted development agreements like the one recently passed for the Hilldale Sunset Project. A promise to dedicate public space in a development agreement is as believable as saying residents benefit from a hotel rooftop party. People who live in park-poor communities or with high park needs have reduced life expectancy. Creating a park in the Sunset Strip area will benefit us in many ways: emergency management, economic benefits to attract new businesses, social benefits, creating a safe space for citizens to gather, and mental and physical health of nature and fresh air. Please consider this as a priority for the Sunset Strip residents and our business development. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, what is our time?
We're at roughly 25 minutes.
Great. We're going to move everyone else to the second public comment period, and we're going to move on to City Manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. I just want to encourage everyone to vote in tomorrow's election. I don't have any other comments.
Wonderful. All right, Madam City Clerk, may I get an impact of the may I get the fiscal impact on the consent calendar, please?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The fiscal impact on tonight's consent calendar with the addition of items F1, F2, and F3 is $2,982,096 in expenditures, $438,738 in revenues, and $98,902 in waived fees. And before I do the motion to adopt tonight's consent calendar, for item F1, which was moved to consent, in section 2 of attachment A, which is the resolution, I wanted to indicate for the record that the resolution number of reference should be 23-024, which was adopted by the City Council in March of 2023. And with that, we have a motion. Is there a second to adopt tonight's consent calendar? There is a second.
And City Clerk, just noting my recusal on B7 once
Yes,
more.
thank you, Vice Mayor.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. That passes. We're going to move on to our first and only public hearing tonight. The public hearing is now open. Madam City Clerk, how was this hearing noticed?
As required by law.
Thank you. Staff, do my colleagues have any disclosures? No? 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 Great. We do not need a full staff report, so if you would like to just tell us what we need to know, and we can go from there.
Thank you, Mayor. Nick Marisich, Community Development Director. I'm joined this evening by our Planning Manager for Long Range Planning, Francisco Contreras, and Long Range Planning Intern, Anthea Rosenbaum, who can share some details on this item. We also have Tahira Ferris from our Senior Planner for Long Range Planning.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor and City Council. My name is Anthea Rosenbaum. I'm an intern with Long Range Planning. Tonight we're proposing a general plan amendment to incorporate the updated local hazard mitigation plan. This is an administrative action. This plan was approved by City Council last November, and before the plan could be formalized, it had to be approved by Cal OES and FEMA. We got FEMA approval in July of 2024. With that approval, we are now submitting this general plan amendment to incorporate this FEMA-approved local hazard mitigation plan. This plan enables the city to get funding as well as other important resources in the case of hazards and other mitigation strategies. Thank you very much. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Mayor, I believe there's one public speaker. Oh, two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't we go to the public comment first? So we have Wendy Goldman to be followed by Kevin Burton. You don't want to speak on this? Great. Okay. Kevin Burton, do you want to speak on this? Okay. Thank you. They have your name up here, Wendy. They just love you that much. That's it. Melissa just loves you. So
It just wasn't clear
Sorry.
from the previous. So it's
we
Kevin.
love you. There you go. Go ahead, Kevin.
Kevin Burton, resident of West Hollywood, and I did sign up to speak here.
That's good.
On this item. I just wanted to thank staff for all of its effort in putting together the local hazard mitigation plan. This came to you a number of months ago, maybe about a year ago, and it's been making its way through the state and back to the Planning Commission for your final approval and incorporation into the general plan. I am with a group of CERT trainees, WeHo Research, here in West Hollywood, and we try to promote emergency preparedness in the city. So we're all always very pleased to see the city doing everything it can to prepare for emergencies. And this plan, as part of the general plan, I think is a critical part of that preparation. So I hope that each of you have looked through the proposals that are being made in the plan that the city can implement to increase its readiness to respond and prepare for emergencies. And I just wanted to mention, in terms of preparedness, that the city carried out a CERT training course. CERT is Community Emergency Response Training, September. Many new graduates, and also a highly successful CERT alumni event was held in October, and Councilmember Meister attended that and spoke. I did. And there are a number of new recruits among the trainees for CERT groups in the city, and we hope to be increasing our activity. If you want to find out more about us, we are WeHo Research. It's WeHo, RECERT.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, we'll move on to question. That concludes the public comment portion. Do my colleagues have any questions? Councilmember Meister.
Thank you, and thank you for the report, and I'm glad that Kevin Burton brought up about how we implement it, because as you know, the implementation, a lot of it relies on planning and building and safety. So one of the issues that aren't, it isn't necessarily its own category, but it's related to other categories in the hazard mitigation plan, is groundwater. And I actually did talk to Danny Rivas about it today, that protecting our groundwater needs to be a priority for planning and building and safety as it relates to hazard mitigation. Dry trees and vegetation could pose a significant risk in wildfire and wind events. Low groundwater due to drought or pumping of groundwater could lead to unstable ground and subsidence, which is not good if we have a bad earthquake. So I know that it is subsidence and earthquakes obviously are in the hazard mitigation plan, and obviously wildfires, but we need to also tie that together to groundwater and make sure that that is something that planning staff and building and safety staff think about as we move forward with this. And I would love if we could add something into the hazard mitigation plan in the future. I know that it's a living document, and we can add items, you know, annually. We don't have to wait 5 years. Especially if those items are tied to hazards that are recognized by FEMA. So groundwater is important, and as we watch the Melrose Triangle lose 1,000 gallons a day or whatever that's being pumped out of the ground for the last 10 years, I think we really need to look at that and see how it affects our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, there's a motion and a second, and I'm assuming that motion includes closing the public hearing to Councilmember
Correct,
Ryan.
and giving the direction that Councilmember Meister suggested to look at that issue for the future.
Great. We'll go to a vote. And thank you, staff. And that passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Moving right along, we're going to go to, we have no legislative unfinished business. We have 2 items of new business, starting first with climate credits, incentives for plant-based businesses and certified green businesses. We have no public commenters, so we'll move right on to questions, which I believe Councilmember Heilman had questions.
Not really a question, more of a comment. I appreciate this, and I think it looks like a very interesting item. I guess my comment is that all of our businesses need incentives right now. And I just want to make sure that as we're looking at targeting particular types of business for incentives because they're promoting a healthy lifestyle, promoting, addressing climate change, I just hope that we're actually looking at how we can be incentivizing all of our businesses. So I just want to make that point, and as staff looks at this, I hope as they bring it back, they'll bring it back in the context of how do we support our businesses generally. And that was my only comment.
Great. If there are no other comments or questions, would someone like to make a motion?
Yes, I'll make the motion, and then Vice Mayor can second.
Wonderful.
And I just want to indicate for the record that we did receive a citizen position slip in support of the recommendation from Stephanie Harker.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Sure. And just to confirm, this motion, does it include Councilmember Heilman's direction to look at incentivizing all businesses? Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for asking for clarity, Melissa. All right, that passes 5-0. We'll move right on to our last item of new business, informational virtual meeting on coyotes and wildlife. Councilmember Meister, we have one public commenter. Would you like to go to them first before we go to any questions? Okay, great. Polly Bussinger. Sorry, Polly. Don't worry, Polly. Councilmember, we just gotta, it's only 6:45. We're doing pretty good. So there you go.
Okay, can you hear me? Or what
Why don't you use the podium one that's right there?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Thanks. Hi, I am a 45-year resident of West Hollywood, both as an apartment. Oh, thank you. 45-year resident of West Hollywood, both renting an apartment, managing an apartment, and now as a homeowner. I am commenting on the ridiculous proposal being made regarding the coyotes. I think spending $2,000 on a virtual meeting is way out of line. If you want us to know about coyotes, send us an email. Publish it in the West Hollywood paper, but $2,000, please. We need abatement. We don't need information about how to live with coyotes. We need abatement. I just talked to an employee at the Larry Block store today, and he said he had beaten off a coyote with a stick. I mean, this is scary, quite honestly. I think that I think that they're going to multiply if we do nothing. They are already down as far as Park La Brea, and they have taken over our neighborhood. Let's consider that cats and dogs don't eat each other. Coyotes eat cats and dogs. And generally, they're not cats and dogs are not a threat. If mountain lions roamed our streets, like they do in Malibu, would we just send out a virtual meeting? No, I don't think so. Would people suggest that we learn to live with them? Or would they relocate them? I think we really need to look at this. I think the coyotes are overrunning our neighborhoods. I have never seen it like this, and I would like to see some concrete action at abatement. Thank you.
Thanks, Polly. Councilmember Meister, you had comments and or questions. I can't remember which.
Comments, really. Well, I mean,
Could I actually say something before you go, because it was my item? So this item is really moldable and flexible. I mean, I think that this is something that we need to get a hold of. I also want to extend my condolences to Andy Hartland, whose cat was actually eaten by a coyote this past weekend. But I put this item on the agenda as quick as possible when I started getting texts from a number of residents about the mitigation plan. I don't remember if you were on council when the mitigation plan was adopted a while ago. I know Councilmember Heilman was, but I think that this item, I wanted to get it on here so we can mold an agenda, and if we want to add anything else, completely open to whatever we need to do.
yeah, I would say let's make it a conversation about wildlife and how we deal with it, as opposed to saying, well, look, because I'm all for wildlife. If you've seen my front garden, you know it's to attract wildlife, but not ones that are going to eat my dog. We've also had an issue in West Hollywood West There are coyotes living on Norwich where there's an abandoned construction site. And so it does have to be dealt with, and it's not a matter of learning how to live with them living there. So what I would like to see is let's have a discussion about how do we deal practically with wildlife in our city, and also if we can include community cats in that discussion, because a lot of people aren't aware of the TNR program and our relationship with Amanda Foundation. So it would be great if we could just sort of broaden this and make it more about how do we deal with the wildlife in our city, and not only about getting along, but also how do we address these issues when they're dangerous.
Yeah. Councilmember Shea.
Thank you. Thank you for the public comment. I want to thank the mayor for bringing this forward. And I remember you did receive some comments from residents, and literally at the next meeting, this is on the agenda. So thank you for being proactive. And I appreciate that this meeting is going to happen. Now, while we can put things in newspapers and other bulletins, the great thing about these types of meetings is a lot more eyes are on them, so it reaches, and it's a more of an educational and digital, and it'll exist on the WeHo website or YouTube or wherever we have it, which is great for the future. And I appreciate Councilmember Meister's addition with what do we do. I like the discussion of how we would become a wildlife conscious community, and you have in here taking preventative measures. Those are also important, as well as the discussion on how to keep pets safe. I know it's something that I've thought about a lot with my little Chloe, and I don't have a yard in my apartment building, so if I did, I would research what to purchase. They have these special coyote-proof outfits, basically, for pets that maybe staff can include that. But having a discussion is makes it even better. So I'm in full support of this item, and thank you for bringing it.
Great. Councilmember Heilman, do you have any comments or questions on this?
No, I do think that the public speaker is right. It isn't just about education. We also have to protect our residents and protect their animals. And, you know, coyotes have been here for a long time. They're going to continue to come down here from the hills, but we should have a plan to try to deter them and do everything possible to protect the community from their adverse impacts.
Vice Mayor Byers?
Yeah, I see in 2018 we did adopt a plan, so maybe the point of this conversation is refreshing people's memories on this, helping educate people, and I just don't see in here that this would be done in collaboration with any of those entities. So that was just one of the things I wanted to bring forward, is making sure that we're doing this in partnership. I don't know that we would recommend beating off a coyote with a stick, but I'm sure there are best practices that we would encourage, and we want to make sure people are aware of what they need to do to make sure they're safe in community.
Yes, and general knowledge, if do not beat a coyote off with a stick. Yes, thank you, colleagues. I think that this is something that we all want to see get a handle of. I got a text just this morning from people by City Hall, actually. So people walk their dogs. And so quick question, David, maybe you know, or Danny, who's looking at me fearfully now because I'm calling his name in public. I got this question from a couple of members of the public. Does the county or any other agency that we would know come out and try to trap or humanely relocate coyotes? Is there any, and you don't have, if you don't have the answer, it's totally fine. But I know, and that's a tricky question, but that is a question I've gotten asked by a couple of residents. And if they're living underneath an abandoned property on Norwich, I'm going to be really careful when I go around Norwich now, but that would be good to know, so we can maybe send that organization there. Danny.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So, and agencies typically will not come out to trap unless there is a bite that occurs. So, if it's on private property or in general, it's up to folks to hire a licensed trapper through Fish and Wildlife. There's approval process as a part of that, but yeah, that's the only time that they'll come out and trap.
Great. So I think, sorry, David, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, if that was your only question, there seemed to be a lot of direction there. So if someone wants to put that
so I was
into
going
a
to try and
form
do
of
that. Yeah, as
motion.
my item. So I think what I've heard are a number of ways, and please jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. How do we have a conversation? However that happens will be important with not living with, but you trying to figure out solutions to the coyote issue. It would be great to identify potential reporting or other mechanisms that the county or state deal with, so residents and our neighborhood groups know who to call, I think is important. Potentially updating our coyote mitigation plan to look at different organizations that might be able to do it humanely and with, you said a really great word, wildlife consciousness. I think it was something like the ethical wildlife consciousness.
Wildlife conscious community.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam City Clerk. And then coming back maybe to the City Council with urgency, because it's not going to go away, with a tentative plan or maybe just updating us on next steps, and we can figure that out.
Community.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And Renee, who I know is watching with MJ, will never forgive me, but including the TNR with the community cat conversation as well as a sidetrack for how that could happen.
Yeah, I have that. Deal practically with wildlife in our city, including community cats.
Great.
And I think that's all pretty clear for staff, unless you want us to come back.
No, I don't think you need to come back. I would say move this forward and stay involved. And to the community members watching who have been made very aware of this lately, please stay safe. And if you see a coyote, please go home. Or wherever you are. So be safe. All right, there's a motion and a second. We'll go to a vote. Great. All right, that passes 5-0. There's no excluded consent. We're going to move right on to our last public comment section. And we have still a few speakers in chambers. Great, we're going to go.
Do we want to do chambers or Zoom?
Yeah, we're going to go. Rick, do you have another public comment? Okay. Aaron Cohan? Nope. Kevin Berry? Nope. Mark Edwards? Nope. Richard Maggio? Nope. Jacob Shaw? Come on down.
Rick, you didn't want to do a second public comment? Okay.
All right, good evening, council members and honorable city staff. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to address the council today. My name is Jacob Shaw, and I'm an owner and operator.
Talking to the mic. Yeah,
sorry about that. I'm an owner and operator for 3 businesses in the Rainbow District, which just means I work about 85 hours a week on the beautiful strip of Santa Monica Boulevard. Today I stand before you to advocate for the businesses located on the south side of Santa Monica Boulevard. As it currently stands, the city code presents certain provisions that favor the businesses on the north side of Santa Monica Boulevard. This disparity has a tangible impact on our south side businesses, which are vital contributors to the unique culture, charm, and economic vibrancy of the community. It has become increasingly clear that without amendments to the city code, the south side businesses may face disadvantages that undermine their growth and sustainability. To put it bluntly, it could lead to their insolvency and closure. The north side benefits from the ability to have a 10-foot patio due to the factors that include tree placement and sidewalk width, which inadvertently puts our south side businesses at a comparative disadvantage. I am also a business owner of a business that's on the north side of Santa Monica Boulevard, so I can tell you in real time I can see the differences that the patio would impact the businesses. I'm here respectfully to request that the council consider revisions to the code to create a balanced environment for businesses on both sides of Santa Monica Boulevard. This is already in process as we are working together to finalize the Rainbow District Initiative brought forth by the City Council. Thank you very much. And we are working diligently together with the businesses in the area to make that happen. So what we need now is time. Time to properly analyze our unique needs of the businesses and see what works best for both the community and our businesses and our pedestrians and our bicycles and our robots alike. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. And then do we have public commenters in Zoom?
Yes, Mayor, we have one.
Great.
Mikey Freeman, your next speaker. Please press *6 to unmute. You'll have 2 minutes.
Mikey Friedman, West Hollywood. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I had to comment in person tonight, but I was injured and I can't be there, so I'm calling in because I want to express my thanks. First and foremost, to the paramedics from Station 7. They are truly my heroes. I also want to thank Jewish Family Services who are helping me to feel safe in my own home again. They do such important work for our community. I just wish that more people knew about all the helpful services that they offer. My third thanks is to the Human Services Commission for making sure that these wonderful agencies that help older adults, adults with disabilities, and many others are funded. A huge thank you to the Disabilities Advisory Board for honoring me. The ceremony was filled with love. The board members had many important things to share. I'm just sorry that the City Council majority didn't attend. They missed an exquisitely planned event. I get it that they don't want to watch a person who criticizes them being honored, but I felt bad for the board. They volunteer their help tirelessly, year after year, and they deserved better. Thanks to all the boards and commissions that try to advocate for all of us. I wish council would listen to them more. Finally, I want to honor Patrick Blood, my friend and colleague who served with me on the Disabilities Advisory Board. He was eloquent, articulate, and he fought valiantly for what he considered important. He loved his puppies and he hated scooters. I'll miss him terribly. Rest in peace, Patrick. And oh, I voted for George Nickel too. Good night.
Thanks so much, Mikey. All right, that concludes public comment. We'll move on to council member comments and meeting attendance reports. Councilmember Meister?
Thank you, Mayor. So attendance, I was at the Disability Service Awards and Halloween Carnival, and I want to thank...
Hold on 1 second.
We have one individual who needs to be moved over from the first public comment period. And let me pull up.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Kamala Lopez.
Kamala Lopez, come on down. I think I know what you're talking about.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, and I want to thank each and every one of you for your kind support of Equal Means Equal and our fight for the ERA, or the Equal Rights Amendment, which would guarantee equal rights and equal protection of our laws to all Americans, regardless of sex or gender. We are thrilled to have been able to work with West Hollywood to cover the exterior of this beautiful library building with portraits of community members and an urgent message of equality. We are so grateful for your partnership in bringing this community project to life, and we hope you'll be able to take some time to enjoy the installation, which we are thrilled will remain up for several more weeks. It is the goal and mission of Final Impact to encourage the President to direct the U.S. Archivist to publish the ERA, and after tomorrow, President Biden will have no reason, political or otherwise, to fail to enshrine equality for all Americans, regardless of sex or gender, into the U.S. Constitution. In fact, publication of the ERA would cement a legacy for President Biden, which would be as important and far-reaching as that of President Lincoln. The key for advocates is to publicize the campaign, amplify the message as much as possible over the next 100 days so that it reaches the White House. We hope that the public will help by calling and texting the President every single day for the next 100 days, urging him to direct the archivist to publish the ERA. The number to call is 202-456-1111. Please contact info@equalmeansequal.org if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Back to you, Councilmember Meister.
Okay, so again, my attendance report, Disability Service Awards, and congratulations again, Mikey Friedman and all of the other awardees. Also did attend the Research alumni meeting and was really amazed at how many people showed up. It shows that we have a group of people who are ready to help out when we have an emergency or disaster. And also Halloween Carnival, and want to thank staff and our public safety partners for keeping everybody safe and another successful Halloween. And just tomorrow's election day, vote, 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 vote.
Want to say another one?
Vote.
There you go, Councilmember Shine.
Thank you. I also want to say, please vote, 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 vote. Tomorrow, if you have not voted yet, it's an incredible privilege and right to be able to vote in the United States. And congratulations to all who are running in this election. And it is, despite whatever people's positions are, running for public office is very commendable. Congratulations to my colleague and Vice Mayor Chelsea Byers for her appointment to the National League of Cities LGBTQ Caucus as Vice President. Now we have her as Vice President at the national level and at the California League of Cities. I'm incredibly proud of you. I wanted to wish those celebrating a wonderful Diwali as well that was going through this weekend. And I attended the Halloween Carnival. It was a lovely event, very safe, and there were so many people out celebrating. So those are all my comments tonight.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Shine. Councilmember Heilman.
Yeah, I think Rick mentioned Gary Davis, and I would request that we adjourn in his memory. And Melissa, hopefully you can get contact information for his family. I also wanted to thank everyone involved with Halloween, our public safety staff, firefighters, Cleo and all of her team, and our public works people who by the next day had cleaned everything up. It was an amazing event as always, and thank, of course, the businesses and community members who attended. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Byers.
And of course, vote.
Thank you, Mayor. My attendance, I attended the Clean Power Alliance Energy Planning Committee meeting, the Legislative Committee meeting, and I had an opportunity to meet with our Assemblymember Rick Zabur to discuss the Clean Power Alliance's priorities, and just want to give a huge shout out and note of gratitude to our Assemblymember for being so laser focused on climate change and doing everything he can to address that. We have such a strong leader in him in our district. We're really grateful for that. I also had an opportunity to attend the 50th anniversary gala of the UCLA Rape Treatment Center and West Hollywood's Nightlife Safety Initiative, which asks that all bar staff be trained by the UCLA Rape Treatment Center, was highlighted at their 50th anniversary gala. So just kudos to this council. I was not there when that happened, but was really grateful to see that that was such a huge part of their work and that they uplifted that night. I also want to just say thank you to everybody for making it such an amazing Halloween. If you haven't yet, make sure you go to the West Hollywood Flickr page. I don't know if folks know, but there's an amazing Flickr account, years and years of amazing photos, and you can start with the Halloween Carnivals photos. They're amazing, and just shout out to all the photographers for capturing so much of that night. Also, thank you to Sheriff Luna, who attended and gave a shout out to the crowd from the stage. Just an amazing opportunity to have partnership from our law enforcement agency, and we're grateful that he took the time to be there and a part of that night. Speaking of enforcement, I was invited to be a part of a public service announcement for Metro because bus lane enforcement's coming. These are on-bus camera enforcements that'll help make sure that these bus lanes that are priority lanes are enforced. So it's a great new tool that some cities have, not ours, but we do share one of these bus priority lanes. So I just wanted to raise the issue that continues to be ongoing, that the enforcement of our bus priority lane has challenged at times, and maybe it's something we can discuss. I know on that La Brea side, there is a parking garage around the corner at Best Buy, but it doesn't seem that there's any real awareness, or we can move signage down the block. So I'd like to talk to the city staff to see what we can do to better enforce the bus priority lane and make aware where the parking opportunities are for folks who are looking for it. And then wanted to remind folks that this coming Monday is Veterans Day. I unfortunately won't be able to attend the ceremony, but encourage other folks to meet at the Sal Garriello Memorial Fountain around 11 a.m. Be a part of that day. And then lastly, just want to thank Jacob from Beaches for raising this issue. I know part of the intent with the Rainbow District item that the mayor and I brought forward was to address some of the challenges in some of that area. So I'm concerned that the timing doesn't seem to be totally aligning, and there's some issues there. So if we can talk about that, maybe offline, not now, but just wanted to flag that. And thank you for coming out to speak tonight. And vote. I'll add my note. Vote. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor Byers. Yeah, just to start off, I share Vice Mayor Byers' concerns regarding the issue that Jacob brought up. I know that the south side of the street and the north side of the street are different, but the intent of the Rainbow District item was to make sure that we don't continue to hurt our businesses, to make sure that we want to give them all the tools that they have. So whatever coordination we can work on, or if you need direction from the city to come back to us, that would be good to figure that out, because we want our businesses to thrive. And thank you to Jacob for coming out here. It'd be great if our Chamber of Commerce was here to advocate for you as well, but thank you for coming out by yourself. Additionally, I attended the Creative Recovery LA opening, the Yes on Prop 3 Community Town Hall, the Block Party 15th Anniversary event. Congratulations on 15 years. Bridges Across Generations event at Plummer Park art opening and exhibit, and the Get Out the Vote Center at the Connie Norman Transgender Empowerment Center. Very, very vibrant time to see all these different places you can go out and vote. Additionally, I want to thank our Sheriff's Department on the work, especially Fanny, who helped with the Norton House, right behind Kirsten, where we live. I know I've been working with you all, as well as Andrea and everyone, Tabitha, for many years to address the issues of that house. And it's been really wonderful to see the care you put into the community to make sure people felt safe. This was truly an individual-led effort by those individuals who made sure it was happening right there on Norton, and making sure that people are being addressed. So I just really want to publicly thank you and everyone that made sure that they got that addressed. And then additionally, I want to thank everyone, including our first responders, again on Halloween. It was quite the fun time. I think I walked home at around 2:45 a.m. After going and getting food at Canner's, because it's the only thing open late. But it was great. I thought the communication was great. I was really happy to see very, 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 very little, if any at all, different types of disturbances or instances of any issues that we had. So thank you to everyone that made it very successful. And yet again, when I think I have a great costume, Vice Mayor Byers upstages us all. So again, literally every year. So next year is your mayor year, so you have to figure it out. So with that, go vote, everyone. If you haven't heard, there's an election, and I will adjourn this meeting at 7:13 p.m.
The month of Pride, hosting a pickleball tournament here at Plummer Park and West Hollywood Park. 2 full days of